What is going on, folks? Welcome back to the Multi-Faceted channel, the home for breakthroughs and the haven for all that is avant-garde and crazy unusual. Today's video is going to be the point that kept following us on our own previous videos of both performer comparative literature, Black Metal Judaism Part 1 and 2. And so today it's Disembarking Black Metal right here, as I've given you little hints, then hunches of the black metal being invested elsewhere. And precisely here, folks, in this designated article I sent you over to read also previously, and so today it's all about music, as it is a pure contribution to the act of black metal birth, as to start right now. And so in the beginning of the article here we have the word conclave or discord, as for the evolution of metal music at the time, historically marked to a huge pile of stories that are traced to the 60s, either way rock and roll or heavy metal. And it's such a wide term used specifically for fast tempos, guitar solos and bass clarified as a means of a dire need to speed the idea of metal more frightening and gruesome in its core than that of the simple rock and roll pace and rhythm. You see? And big gigantic bands that pioneered the heavy metal grounds like Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Dream Theater, Led Zeppelin, Slayer, Van Halen, Deep Purple, Onslaught 2, and tons of these superb American and English wave for heavy metal. However, still for the amazing blend felt in these bands listening to them due to the heavy influences upon one another, and how features like guitar riffs and guitar tuning, mainly tremolo, double picking while playing guitar, double bass, double pedal for drums too, and examples are more than prevalent in every traditional and modern black metal song. Here, as they appear on the article, guys like Venom, Bathory, Hellhammer, Merciful Fate, Carcass, and many other mainly hailing from Europe. And judging from their logos and album covers, there was still a cultural background praised deeply Satanism and fought also for the fear of leaving Christianity, as well as that of at least Judaism things still follow us till this point. And I'm being specific concerning the very American and British wave, heavy metal wave of legendary bands, which have been mentioned as to leaving certain these two designated religions, while based ardently on qualities like defiance, being the underdog, also for where change could come from, band switches and shake-ups, members disobeying each other and disobeying certain bands too, or threads, and threads are the main motor of a band's new play and appearance, also the rise to stardom. And so, folks, changes being charismatic, very aggressive and rebellious in nature, veteran black metal bands I just mentioned here, they encourage the development and clarification that craved for a more blackened plateau and less Jesus Christ course, and demanded instead more for Satan hailings and chantings to the point of worshiping fully. And so it was just an act of dabbling, worsening, and developing a satanic approach to the evolution of music after all. At the same time, there were more exploited and developed underground styles or waves too, like death metal, doom metal, and still had their own shares of these anger against society, God, social regulations, and satanic orientations were the best outlets, believe me, for all to be explained in their songs and orientations. I mean their anger, falsification of facts, or simply them, these artists being easily bought, indoctrinated, or even paid a lot of money. Do you get my point? And so another point here, which is a metal style whose pioneers like Black Sabbath, the Melvins, I Hate God, Acid Bath, these ones have pioneered nonetheless other senses of stern, harsh, slow, perceived style that is sludge metal, which is so dear to me, just like black metal, which is out of authenticity. They took some of the features that originated from its own or their own core, which is anger against society, and the predilections for drug abuse, rough attitude, locals depicted as the underdog. That's their monikers, rednecks and hillbillies. You see, this is what you get to see. Stereotypical people culturized a lot in the American South, as the underdog being happy with their seclusions, and still had their own shares of the metal evolution up to a black metal standpoint. Yet the Norwegian finally joined to give a great push to black metal way too defined. My god, this is super big, because it's Norway. and so very unprecedented in nature, insubordinate and inherent to their very ancestors. And so Norwegian bands did it all within mentalities to grasp and play too. And hear this one out. I am so not going to read or further expound anything for you here, folks, as I deeply urge you to read this article here. It's super informative, believe me. Because a movement that was known as the early Norwegian black metal scene. And here, folks, for what I've been explaining up till this point, you'll understand my point of view as to why black metal is called disembarking here. And here I use the verb disembark with the plus the prefix dis as an opponent to the verb embark, or an antonym, sorry. But the designated second wave of Norwegian black metal was also to flourish with the Scandinavian crazy bravery and ferocious mentality, whose standards were also of relevant issues to the very etiquettes. And by etiquettes I mean it was like an onus or onus responsibility of religious and superiority problems that were also a problem to deal with. In the second wave here for Norwegian black metal, super stormy happenings went down in the second wave. And so I won't speak of it too, as I'm only teasing you and pushing you to read it here. Do not worry, it's not philosophical, it's simply artistic and music related. And so, as I promised you before in the comparative literature part 1, I said I'll be talking about killing acts and burning churches. And right here, it didn't make any sense to me as to why this man Varg killed Euronymous. This is Euronymous. And anyways, and here I show you this still living man Varg, who is a band member of this one-man project band Burtrum, Norwegian black metal band, who straight up to the point was suspected of burning churches and killing this person that goes by the name Øystein Arseth, or the same as Euronymous, because Euronymous was his stage name, who is also a band and leading member, I think, from this band Mayhem. It's also a Norwegian black metal band. You see, more details of the story are here to be found on the article, folks. It's seriously stupendous information you do not want to miss. Also, for this legendary Norwegian black metal band Mayhem, you're going to miss out a lot if you Google it and miss out my article, so please don't do it. Have a great read, it's super amazing. And ironically speaking, and out of a modern era, and to only prove how and why black metal is seriously disembarking, for these Norwegian black metal bands, either first or second wave, they brought satanic music in its ultimate philosophy, you know? Either way of accepting the world's standards of dominant regulations, yet in return, the delivery of this Norwegian mentality into black metal, it was fully injected. It actually introduced what so far modern bands and other genres couldn't pull off, despite the cornerstone of a genuine simplicity, and that is in attaining a free spirituality in expressing cultural, mental, or even psychological burdens throughout music, so very universally beautiful. And so either ways, newly founded genres, twists and angers against God and religion, total outrage also shed against society. Do you see the kind of philosophy that's floating around this thing we're talking about? It's not even music anymore, it's philosophy. And black metal is apparently just a feature that came to rise what's more engorged in an ethnically complex and relevantly reason for and with anger against any given societal obstacles. And as far as black metal is concerned, this video, folks, it is disembarking for me personally due to the tons of feuds and problems that came to wrap it up and entitle mostly Residents. And I'm talking about new ideals, as derivative genres such as melodic, which associate itself authentically to death metal and partially black metal, also symmetrically too, so it helped raise in this melodic aspect the immense hierarchy of extreme metal in general. And so does black metal here, to the extent of a Swedish touch, with pioneering bands like Dark Tranquility, In Flames, Dissection. These Swedish guys, they were more brutal and cruelly blended still within the satanic conception. And now we're back to Vatane's vocalist Eric Danielsen and his opinions too on the matter, which I happen to admire. Also super relevant to this disembarking black metal perspective, you know what I mean? As to the acts of dabbling for too long, Eric words, and so mine too. Check it out here, it's one hell of a read, this section. And so, folks, evil satanic organizations just to put it into perspective, that black metal is putting on a lot of efforts to, through the harshest scenery taken to a dissimilar level other than Americans and European bands. It's just an organizational crime here. And either way dabbling or divergent from a melodic side to an evil, cold, freezing, dead and misanthropic Norwegian side, and from a British and to a German to a Finnish or either way Finland, all the way to the deliberately fruitful additions that the first wave of Norwegian black metal bands embraced and played along their demo and debut as well. They were stuck to ever since. And the best example was, however, besides the other countries I've been mentioning, it was Watain, originally Swedish context, and their deal story we discussed a while ago, also in the comparative literature part. And in the previous video I said Watain's cornerstone in depicting super evil incarnations, and just many endless list of Swedish or either ways European, American, Asian, sometimes African bands, like I've been saying before. They all come to the core belief of Satanism, evil, a lot of religious conflicts, and mainly Judaism as a leading powerful hand for expressing this black metal's anger that dwells artists from different backgrounds and perspective ethnicities, because folks, at the end of the day, they show up to record labels and sign whatever record labels they're given to them, and the very bad members, whatever they have in mind to play as either way folks, a true or real anger, and whatever extreme metal or black metal must have done into someone's head, or the hidden agendas they promote for example, it's just an entrepreneurial spirit, you know, which is why you have commercial bands which they suck, like Dimmu Borgir, Cradle of Filth, or Shining, which I used to listen to a lot. This Dimmu Borgir and Cradle of Filth, they're no longer genuine to their style. Basically, this is pretty much to wrap up this article with our ardent and super stupendous of sharing information with you guys as to why black metal is and will always be considered a ready figure to disembark from its originality, although with the complexity and underground approaches bands from Europe and America and the way they took it and absorbed it really good. They all had their reasons after all. So I highly recommend to read what you see here, as it is musically enriched. You will be super informed, believe me. Don't freak out, it's not philosophical. It's just a black metal that is now at its better state of evolution as far as new, powerful bands like Watain who are making consecutive and strikingly magnificent success throughout their career, and the music they produce too, which is mused and filled with emotions of a true, hateful, angry and freezing cold and misanthropic black metal. Join us next time folks, so we can discuss another super amazing subject. You're going to be amazed, I can tell you that for sure. Join us with your ideas, English language fanatics. I welcome all your comments and that of crazy ones too. Subscribe to the channel, make sure you like it, hit thumbs up too, share it, why the hell not, for more madness and craziness are on the way, and on your way they're coming. As for these originalities, articles are to be examined and explained even more. Have a good, see you next time, and goodbye.